Oh, yeah, he's outside.
What's that? I'm feeling less stress already. I'm feeling good right now.
There they are.
Thank you for your patience. It's 5:32. I'd like to call the Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 City Council meeting for the City of Sierra Madre to order. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Edward Garcia,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Kelly Krebs,
Here.
Councilmember Jean Goss,
Here.
Councilmember Christine Lowe,
Present.
and Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilmember Lowe, would you be kind enough to lead us in the pledge?
Glad to.
Thank you.
Please stand if you can. Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so I wanted to honor our Halloween season and the end of October and the beginning of November. And the celebration at the end of October and beginning of November has focuses on changing of seasons and harvest. They also celebrate those who have passed on. They have secular and religious connotations for many different cultures and involve lots of community gatherings. Halloween has been, its origins of the festival is Samhain, which is the end of summer. It was among the Celts from both Ireland and from Great Britain. On the day corresponding to November 1st, on our contemporary calendar, the new year was believed to have begun. That date was considered the beginning of the winter period, the date on which the herds were returning from pasture and land tenures were renewed. During this festival, the souls of those who had died were believed to have returned to visit their homes, and those who had died during the year were believed to journey to the other side. People set bonfires on hilltops, relighting their hearth fires for the winter and to frighten away evil spirits. And they sometimes wore masks and other disguises to avoid being recognized by the ghosts thought to be present. Move on towards All Saints' Day, used to be held on May 13th in the Christian religion. It was moved to November 1st at about 700 AD, and we think it was done so to supplant a Christian holiday with a pagan holiday. All Saints' Day commemorates all the saints of the church, both known and unknown, who have attained heaven. The evening before All Saints' Day became a holy or hallowed eve, thus Halloween. By the end of the Middle Ages, the secular and sacred days had merged. When large numbers of immigrants, including the Irish, came to the United States beginning in the mid-19th centuries, they took their Halloween customs with them, and then the 20th century Halloween became one of the principal U.S. holidays, particularly among children. Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, is a celebration of life and death. While associated with Mexico, it can be traced all the way to the pre-Columbian Mesoamerica time. This Day of the Dead is a 2-day celebration, very similar to that of the original Samhain. What I would encourage everyone, instead of just focusing on your own customs that you're familiar with within your religion or your culture, that I encourage you to go and visit others in our community, other religions, other groups, other cultures, and partake in breaking of the bread and celebrating with other cultures so we could become a more diverse community, both here in Sierra Madre and abroad. That's what I leave you all with.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. As we all know, Halloween's a very special time around town, so thank you for that. Okay, I'd like to hear if we have any changes to the agenda, or if not, I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of the agenda as is.
Move to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Moving on to approval of, for the reading of resolutions and ordinances by title only. Do we have a motion? Thank you. Councilmember Goss, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Moving on to the meeting minutes from October 10th, Do we have any changes requested from the dais here, or Madam City Clerk, have you received any emails?
Mr. Mayor, the city clerk's office did not receive any changes or requests for amendments.
Thank you. Anything here from the dais? All right. Is there a motion to approve as submitted?
Move to approve meeting minutes from October 10th.
Second?
I think that was council member, or Mayor Pro Tem there on that second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. So now moving on to mayor and city council reports. Who would like to start? Please, Councilmember Goss.
I'll go first, sure. A few things to report. Back on October 11th, our transportation subcommittee met once again. We meet every 2 weeks. We took that meeting to start planning for our meeting with the Met. We came to a consensus that as a body, we intend to advocate very forcefully for the return of at least one bus line to our city. It's, in my opinion, it's an outrage that they took all our bus lines away. So I think we're gonna work together on that. We reviewed the city transportation budget and discussed how funds could be deployed potentially. And we're also planning to borrow e-bikes from San Gabriel Valley Active, and members of the committee will go on a demo ride, including me, from Kirsten Court down to the Foothill Transit Stop in Arcadia. We intend to publicize this activity aggressively with the hope that it will stir more discussions about e-bikes and the possibilities of making Sierra Madre more e-bike friendly. Last Monday, I was here at the Community Service Commission meeting, and the big news is that they approved unanimously a brand new field use agreement for our youth sports teams here in the city. That was a culmination of, I think, almost a year of work and a lot of collaboration and a lot of bargaining and negotiation. I just want to commend all the city staff and all the principals involved for making that happen. So our city's youth are well served as of this week. Last week, Tuesday, I attended Mayor Garcia's State of the City address at the Sierra Madre Elementary School auditorium. He, not surprisingly, did an outstanding job, as did Mayor Pro Tem Krebs in her introduction of him. The event was extremely well attended. The auditorium was full, and I would say it was certainly a big success. Finally, this past Friday, I met with PUSD board member Tina Fredericks. She's excited, and so am I, about the city's potential use of the middle school gymnasium. She invited the city manager and myself to the next meeting of the PUSD Legislative Advocacy Committee meeting to share our ideas on how to partner with PUSD to use the middle school gym during off hours as a recreation site for our city's youth. So I'm looking forward to that with great anticipation, because I feel like that would be a big leap forward if we could get our youth the access to that gym. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
That was quite a bit. Thank you. You were very busy the last 2 weeks. Councilmember Lowe, you have anything to report?
Yes, so let's see. I went to the smashing, the pumpkin smashing with Sierra Madre Fire Department on October 12th, and it was really fun. The kids decorate their pumpkins, all donated by Trader Joe's, and they decorate them, and then they take them up to the top of the tower where they dry the hose, and they dump them off, and they smash everywhere, and the kids all scream with glee. It's pretty fun. I also attended the Planning Commission meeting this last Thursday, and it was up for the annual review of the CUP for the events and filming at the Villa. So it's not for what we went over, it's the other CUP. And it was, I think it was an effective meeting. A lot was heard and a lot was filtered out. It's kind of in the test period from what I understand, where this year they were analyzing what happened and whether things worked and what didn't work. And they did suggest to go back and make some alterations to the CUP. So that will be coming up on their end. And then last, attended your State of the City, which was outstanding, and great performances put on by the kids. And it was a really, really fun event. It was really nice to see, especially held in the school, in the elementary school. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. Councilmember Parkhurst, anything to report?
Sure, a couple of things. The Clean Power Alliance held one meeting in the past 2 weeks. Nothing to report out of that. But there was last week, there was a ribbon cutting on a new 300 megawatt solar project and with a couple of hundred batteries on it. This is out in San Bernardino County. And it's interesting, it is right next to a National Renewable Energy Labs assessment site, and they have dubbed that location as having the highest solar potential of anywhere in the United States, and it's on the site of a decommissioned gas plant. So they've been able to repurpose all of the infrastructure, connect it right in to the grid, and so we'll be getting some quite local renewable energy coming to us very, very soon. As Commissioner Goss, or as Councilmember Goss said, we both attended the Transportation Committee. I have nothing more to add. He did an incredible job of summarizing that. On Saturday, I think it was Saturday, they had bingo fundraiser by the Sierra Madre Float Association, and it was an absolute hilarious time. If you've never been, the next time they have it, highly recommend. You get to throw your bingo cards at the person who wins. There were so many prizes. Oh my God, like it was, practically everybody walked away with a prize. It was fantastic, a great fundraiser for our float association. And then earlier on Saturday, we had KTLA was in town, and they filmed up at the Historical Society and gave a plug on the history of the two museums up there. And so council member or committee member, let's see, Diane, what's Diane's last name? Diane Sands and Leslie Ziff were there and did a phenomenal job. Thank you very much. And so we got a little bit of plug for the great work that they do and those great facilities here in Sierra Madre. And then just prior to tonight's meeting, I was over with the Senior Commission, had a fantastic reception in memoriam of Nancy Walsh, and we're going to hear more about that tonight. I hope that at least one of the stories gets shared with us. They were absolutely hilarious. If you don't, I didn't have the pleasure of knowing Nancy Walsh, but oh my God, she was quite the person. And I hope everyone gets a chance to hear some of the stories. I hope they get captured and shared because she's very, very unique and very, very special to the town. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. Mayor Pro Tem?
Sure. So just this past week, we had a Natural Resource Commission meeting, mostly comprised of considering the various items we have referred back to them, both updating the wildlife plan as well as considering the treatment of gas-powered lawn equipment, leaf blowers mostly. So they're under consideration, taking both of those under consideration and having discussions around both of those topics. I also attended the State of the City and had the pleasure and honor of introducing the mayor. I have to say that I walked away thinking why we don't do more events in that auditorium. I had not been there for a number of years after my kids had graduated out of the elementary school, and it's always stunning. So I feel like similar to our work with the middle school, we should be considering ways we can utilize that amazing facility. And lastly, I'm just going to say that I followed direction and went to the library on its last day of being open in its former facility and checked out about this many books. So I did my part, and those are the books that don't have to go into storage. So look forward to having an extra time to read them.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, so as far as events regarding city issues that I attended on October 12th, I attended the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors Selection Committee for Blue Ribbon Committee on Homelessness. Different sectors were nominating their representative. The San Gabriel Valley is the biggest sector, and I'd proudly say that we were the only one to achieve a quorum because it was in person. We had to go down to the Kenneth Hahn Hall of Administration to do this. So we did achieve a quorum. There were 2 nominations for the committee, and it felt a little bit like Congress. We had to have 4 votes. We couldn't, we couldn't achieve a weighted majority. Sierra Madre only has 1 on weighting, but we were able to, after the 4th vote, finally nominate Becky Shevlin, the mayor of Monrovia, to the committee. She's done a lot of work on homelessness, but I don't want to forget mentioning that Mayor Estrada from Baldwin Park, who was the other person that was vying for the position, also does a lot of great work on homelessness. So that committee will be getting started, and we want to make sure that while we don't really have those issues here in Sierra Madre, this is a human condition issue, and we want to make sure that we're supporting our neighbors and our San Gabriel Valley partners best we can, as we know that they like to support us when we have specific issues for our city. So I was happy to be there to lend my support. As mentioned by a few council members, on the 17th was the State of the City address. As Councilmember Goss mentioned, it was a packed house. I don't think everyone was there to see me. We did have the 5th graders performing, so that was by design. I did want parents of young children in attendance, because I wanted to make a plea to them to consider volunteering and stepping up and joining a service club or a commission or a committee, or just doing what we can to make this community continue to be the wonderful place that it is. I really was impressed with the 5th graders. Their songs, I know they weren't for the meeting, but they were almost as though they were designed for that meeting. And the dancing was, the Dance Maniacs came out, and it was appropriate. It was great. I can't say enough about how well that was, and how well done it was. And that building, as you stated, I wanted other people to see that inside of that building. I think our director of IT and our IT department hadn't been there in a while, and they were just mentioning how wowed they were by almost going back in a time machine, and that ceiling and the arches and everything and the chandeliers. It's just quite something to see. So I was happy that the elementary school was gracious enough to let us have that event there. On October 20th, there was a ribbon cutting for G.H. Wilkie. It's a local jeweler on Montecito Avenue. And I was there to present a grand opening recognition certificate, as well as the Chamber of Commerce from the city of Sierra Madre. And we also had the Chamber from Arcadia in attendance. It was nice. And the mayor, April Verlato, was there in attendance as well. And we got a couple pictures together, and we were able to welcome Tracy, I believe her last name is Wilkie, and her business partner, who is a resident, Dario Perosco, and congratulate them on their grand opening here in Sierra Madre. I believe this jeweler has been in existence for 96 years, so we're hoping that they're going to be able to celebrate their centennial here in Sierra Madre. I also attended the legendary bingo for the Rose Float Association on Saturday. Yeah, it was a great time. It's fun crumpling up those bingo cards after you lose and pelting the winner. It's a little cathartic there. I didn't win, but I get a little payback. But it really is all in good fun. You feel, you know how much pride we have in our float, in our association. So spending the money and not winning is not a big deal. It's a donation, and part of that donation is you're having a great time with fellow residents. So I encourage everybody to attend next year. I believe they said this is one of the largest attendance they've had in
5 or 6
years.
years.
In a long time. So it was, there was barely a seat left. I think they almost sold out. And also yesterday, October 23rd, the Library Board of Trustees had their meeting on the liaison for the board. We did get an update from the library, or from Arnolfo Yanez, our deputy director, on the progress of the meaningful update. And the librarian did mention that Mayor Pro Tem Krebs did check out a lot of books during her report. So that was brought up in the meeting. And we also did get an update on the children's programming for the summer. So the summer being June and July. And it really is amazing the amount of programming that goes on through that small building with that small staff. We had, and I'm going to use approximations here, but I believe it was just over 100 programs in those 2 months with over 2,400 participants at these programs. So what a wonderful, wonderful summer the library had. As you know, we'll hear the update, but the library's closed for the next couple months, and the temporary library will be open in December. I don't know the exact date, but sometime in December at 350 West Sierra Madre Boulevard. And following the Library Board of Trustees meeting, I'll just mention that I was able to help the PAC 110 Webelows Den achieve their Building a Better World merit badge by hosting here in Chambers right after the meeting a little lesson on government, national, state, and local government, taxing, and I had a little exercise where I brought some Monopoly money, and they were able to, they had 6 boxes of city services, and I gave them $8, and they had to figure out how to allocate it, and I think they realized what we go through and what staff goes through when, especially our finance director, when budgeting comes around. So it's not an easy deal to try to allocate the dollars, and that was great. And at the end of the meeting, they asked, how can we help the community? So they are, I think they're planning on having some kind of public outreach to the community regarding Senate Bill 1383 and the organics program, and how to properly dispose your organics in the can that's coming next week, and how to, and the function of that and the reason for that is they want to make sure that our bears are not eating the garbage and they're staying safe, and residents are staying safe. So look out for the Webelows from PAC 110 knocking on your door soon. With that, I do have a few city announcements. This Friday, October 27th at 6 p.m. is Movie Night at Memorial Park, hosted by the Sierra Madre Chamber of Commerce, featuring a movie that was filmed here in Sierra Madre in 1956. Any guesses? Gee. The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yes, the pod people, right? Yeah, Kirsten Court is highly visualized in that. This Saturday, the next day, October 28th at 1 p.m., Athens will be hosting an event at the Sierra Madre Search and Rescue. That's off of Grandview and Stonehouse right there in the corner. Athens will provide demonstrations on handling the newly stated mandated organic food and waste recycling program. They will also have the new bear-resistant trash bins, and will explain how the change out of the old trash bins will take place. They'll also be offering, and I'm interested in this, hopefully I can make it, I got a busy day on Saturday, raffling off the countertop organic waste bins. So that's going to be super helpful. Mr. City Manager, do we still have the cans in the lobby here? We do. Okay, so quietly when you leave, I'd encourage you to kind of check out the cans, see what they're all about. We do have a couple in the lobby. Tuesday's Halloween happenings start, obviously that's October 31st, start at 3 p.m. and end at 5 with trick-or-treating downtown and in Memorial Park. As you know, we close the boulevard off and the kids trick-or-treat up and down the street. From 5 o'clock to 5:15 is the costume parade. From 5:15 to 5:45, the Sierra Madre Dance Center will have a performance. Look for a little Garcia there. And from 5:45 to 7, there's a costume contest. Feel free to grab a flyer at the back table. Very, very busy day here in Sierra Madre. And finally, the Sierra Madre Car Show is coming up on November 11th. That's also Veterans Day, so there's going to be a lot of events around Veterans Day and the car show. Registration forms are in the back with more information. And a little plug again for PAC 110. They told me that they're going to be setting up during the car show at Taylor's, encouraging patrons to buy a box of stuffing or something to help feed those that might be hungry on Thanksgiving. So they're doing a little service project for that. So a little plug for that group.
Who's hosting the car show?
Oh, thank you. the Sierra Madre Professional Firefighters Association, and I think I'm judging one of the cars as well, so that's going to be exciting. Thank you for that question. And with that, thank you for bearing with me. Lots of announcements and things to report out on. Okay, moving on. I got to get my agenda back in front of me. No, that's my, yes.
By the way, while you're doing that, I saw actually Athens dropping off a few of the new trash cans on Mariposa today, just now.
Well, they're getting started. Nice.
That's early. I know.
They told us the week of the 30th. Okay, so quickly, I won't read the whole card, but as far as public participation, we encourage public participation. It's part of your right. Please try not to disrupt the meeting. If the meeting is being disrupted and you continue to disrupt the meeting, we'll ask you to leave. But it looks like a pretty friendly crowd here today. I don't anticipate that happening. With that, I would like to open the lectern up to public comment for items not on the agenda. You'll have 3 minutes to speak your mind. And as you approach, please state your name and residence. Madam City Clerk, do we get any cards?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 3 speaker cards submitted. The first from Frank Hoji.
Welcome back.
Hello, Frank Hedgie, Sierra Madre resident. Actually brings some sad news to the council tonight. Longtime Canyon resident Brendan Garati passed away earlier this month, so I would like to enter this short memorial into the public record. Brendan Garati was a beloved father, husband, and member of his community, a respected biologist and conservationist. He was best known for his work protecting the endangered habitat of the Californian spotted caterpillar, but nothing was more important to him than family. Born to Jebediah, Susan, Kelly, and Rebecca Garati in Provo, Utah, on February 14th, 1973, he was one of 23 children. After earning his master's degree from UC Berkeley in 1999, he moved to Sierra Madre and quickly became a leader among Southern California's passionate community of conservationists. He is survived by his wives Ashley, Charlotte, and Joy, and his children, Ryan, Lauren, Abby, Francis, Evelyn, Richard, Eric, Brian, Hope, Jean, Sophia, Diane, Lenora, Patricia, Trevor, Gavin, Sean, Lisa, Jacob, Emily, Michael, Madison, Joshua, Matthew, Daniel, Emma, Olivia, Hannah, Abigail, Isabella, Samantha, Ethan, Andrew, and the youngest, Elizabeth. Thank you, Brendan. You will be missed.
Thank you, Mr. Hedgie.
Mr. Mayor, the next speaker is David Gordon.
Mr. Gordon?
Good afternoon, David Gordon, Sierra Madre Playhouse. We will this week be making the formal announcement of the new artistic and executive director of the Playhouse. He has actually been in position for the last 2 months, but we're going to make the formal announcement this week. His name is Matt Cook, and he is a very experienced arts administrator. He was recently the executive director of the Pacific Opera Project, and during his time there, over 3 years, he doubled the revenues from $500,000 to $1 million. So we're setting similar ambitious objectives for Matt. The transition that we're going through is from becoming just a theatre to being a performing arts centre. Small theatres under AB5 can't survive and have to diversify the range of their programming. So we will be doing a lot more different things, jazz, classical music, storytelling, and silent films. And Matt is leading that transition. Next year, we are celebrating our 100th anniversary as a place of entertainment. It was in February 1924 that Sierra Madre, what became the Sierra Madre Playhouse, opened as the Wisteria Theatre, a silent movie theatre, hence our interest in silent films. We are hoping next year to begin the first phase of our refurbishment, ADA bathrooms, new air conditioning, new lobby. I will be coming to the city with a formal request for next year's budget for funding. While we have had money channeled by the city from the COVID funds, we think it would be great if the city recognized the position of the Playhouse in the city, not only for its cultural asset, but because it is an economic engine. As those of you who have been to the theatre know, I ask, during a curtain speech, those people who are present whether they are likely to go or have been to a theatre, to a bar and restaurant, and usually 2/3 of the hands go up. But we need some help. We are out of date as a facility, and in order to draw people away from their flat screen TVs and full surround and media centers, we need to have not only great programming, but a great place to come to. Finally, in my remaining 10 seconds, which are flashing up before me in a new technological fashion, we would like to offer the city for our birthday present during the public programs in July and August. We would offer one evening where we do the programming. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon.
Mr. Mayor, the next speaker is Fire Chief Bartlett.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. I just wanted to give a real brief update from my last presentation during City Council regarding the emergency management notification and alerting system. We finished our testing. As I mentioned last time, we had a little missing piece to the puzzle on getting that alerting system to tie in with the evacuation notifications. And we finished that testing, and even thanks to Councilman Parkhurst who participated, because he did sign up and he was part of the zone that we tested in. And so it all worked out well. Glad to also say that it will send out text messages, emails. It also will go, we now linked it to the city's platforms as far as Facebook goes. So all departmental Facebook accounts will and Twitter accounts. It's a unified message that goes out. We only type it in once and it goes out the same to all of those mediums. And so with that, we're ready to go with it, and it's just really going to be a lot of education, getting the community to start participating and signing up for it now. But I just wanted to give you an update that we are good and very excited that we have that in our back pocket to use.
Thank you, Chief. Since you are staff, I will converse with you a little bit. I have a question. So at the last meeting you presented, you said that landlines will automatically be in, but mobile phones, we would need to opt in and provide that information. Is there a vehicle for residents to do that now? Is that available via link, or how is that going to work out?
Absolutely, and thank you for that plug. In the back, we do have some, I did place some flyers up there. We also have them in the lobby. There's a QR code in there. I realize everybody's not technology savvy on that, so we will be doing other means of trying to get this out, but we really wanted to complete that testing. So the QR code will take you to a website, and it is Smart 911, but you should see the city's logo on that website that will confirm you're in the right location, and then you enter the information that you're willing to share with us, and that'll offer us the ability to get all that, the information, like I said, the alerting and notification out in case of emergencies, and then and testing as well. We'll be doing scheduled testing with the system just the same.
Well, thank you, Chief. Thank you for all your hard work on that. I think it's an important system.
Mayor, can I
Yes.
follow up just, so are you going to be sharing the information with police as well? Kind of is it, how unified is it in it? Because it is, 911, so it's more than just fire.
Yes, sir. What we are utilizing this particular platform for right now is emergency notifications. So really that is going to come from our emergency operations within the city, through the direction of the city manager, or even perhaps fire chief or myself or the police chief, depending on the emergency. It could even come from Public Works. However, there is a component for this, and I have to dig deeper into it, but I think it is something that we may, it's a for purchase option to it, where I think our dispatch, if they have it, the information that we add into it will be available to dispatchers if you call 911. For instance, I've signed up on it myself. You can list family members with their contact information. You can list your pets with their names, what vehicles we should see in your driveway when we show up. So if we, account for all vehicles in a driveway, but nobody's standing in the yard, we can maybe think that there's somebody in there we need to go help. So it is a good system that I would like to explore further, but currently as it stands, it's just going to serve as our notification for emergencies.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed in looking at the system. So I welcome a further dialogue on it when you're at that point. I do think there's some real benefit to that, of being able to have your family, your emergency contacts, your vehicles, your pets all in there, so that when the first responders get to your house, they know what they're walking into. I think there's an advantage of it, but I think we need to have that conversation to make sure we all know what we're taking on. So
Absolutely.
I think but thank you for what you've done so far. I'm really pleased with it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, Madam City Clerk, were there any emails or subsequent cards for items not on the agenda?
Neither, Mr. Mayor, we're done.
Thank you. All right, moving on to presentations. The first presentation is the presentation of Certificate of Recognition to Postal Carrier Joanne Mendeville for some heroic acts. And I'm going to step up to the lectern there, and if I could ask Postal Carrier Mendeville to join me there. I have some prepared remarks. Stand next to me right here. And it's an honor to recognize you. You were brought to our attention by our public safety staff, and they appreciate you going above and beyond. So today I have the opportunity to recognize and present a certificate of recognition to one of our local postal carriers, Joanne Mendeville. She has displayed dedication and heroism to her job, which the city of Sierra Madre is extremely proud of. Joanne has been with the Arcadia Post Office for 9 years and was assigned to her Sierra Madre Canyon route 2 years ago. Let me share a few examples of her dedication to the community. When Joanne first started, she noticed an elderly couple having to walk up steep streets to get their mail, so they had to move their mailbox to the front door to prevent them from falling. She helped them with that. On another occasion, she was delivering a package to the front door of a house on Woodland Drive when she noticed the door was open. She looked in and noticed the house had been ransacked. There was broken glass all over the floor and food everywhere. With the car parked in the garage and no answer at the door, she felt something was wrong and contacted the neighbor to investigate and make sure that the resident was okay. Luckily, the resident happened to be away, but a bear had broken in and destroyed the refrigerator and tore up the house. As part of Joanne's normal routine, she notices who gets their mail daily. One day she noticed that our World War II veteran had not picked up their mail in 3 days. Joanne was concerned and called the police to conduct a welfare check. When fire and police responded, they found our resident was in serious condition, and that resident was rushed to the hospital. Joanne's awareness of the situation saved this man's life. It is because of her going above and beyond that the city of Sierra Madre would like to recognize Joanne Mendeville with a certificate of recognition. So I'd like to present the certificate, recognition for your dedication and heroism, presented this 10th day of October 2023 by the Sierra Madre City Council, Mayor Edward Garcia, Mayor Pro Tem Kelly Krebs, Council members Jean Goss, Robert Parkhurst, and Christine Lowe. Thank you for going above and beyond your job and taking care of our residents.
I appreciate it.
you want to say a few words, you can. If you don't, it's okay. Okay, no worries. Let's take, can we get a photo?
I think Roberta got one.
She got the.
Okay.
She got one.
She got one? Okay. We'll take another one. Thank you, thank you. We're grateful to have people paying attention in this community. Really, that's a huge deal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next, I'd like to invite up our Senior Community Commission. They're going to provide a presentation of the Nancy Walsh plaque, and I think they'll probably give us a little update on what they've been doing. I'm guessing. So Chair Kroc, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor Garcia, Mayor Pro Tem Kelly, and City Council members, and the family of Nancy Walsh who are sitting in the back, and we'll be asking them to tell some of the little funny stories they related to us about Nancy. Nancy was mayor of Sierra Madre. She served on the senior commission. She was extremely active with Civic Club, and she loved to dance. So I want to relay to you one of the highlights of her service in the Senior Commission. In the year 2008, an agreement was established with the County of Los Angeles and the City of Sierra Madre to participate in the County Surplus Disposal Program. Funds collected would be utilized by the Senior Community Commission to provide services and programs for seniors in Sierra Madre. With these funds, the Senior Community Commission does not have to depend or request any funding from the City of Sierra Madre to provide the services and programs that seniors need. Nancy Walsh was extremely instrumental in acquiring these funds on a yearly basis, along with her assistant, Frank Huezo. Since 2017, Nancy and Frank were able to garner $213,000 for the seniors in Sierra Madre. Without her determination, the Senior Community Commission would not have been able to provide over 11,000 meals to our seniors at a cost of $88,000 during the pandemic, when the lunch program we had to be stopped. Thanks to Nancy, all of our senior programs and services up to now have been maintained and expanded because of her. The Senior Community Commission, the City of Sierra Madre, and the seniors of Sierra Madre are extremely grateful for everything she did for us. And we're going to present the plaque to the mayor shortly, but briefly, we want to add our condolences to the family of Frank Huezo, who recently passed away. And so, Patrick, you got the plaque? Oh, okay. Come on down, Mr. Mayor. Up and down, up and down.
I need the exercise.
Hey, here you go. Okay. On behalf of the Senior Commission, we just want to present the city with this plaque. And thank you, and thank Nancy for the services that she provided.
Thank you, thank you. This is a wonderful, wonderful plaque. Great picture of Nancy. We owe her a debt of gratitude, not only for her work with the community of the Senior Community Commission, but also for the city, serving as mayor, and all the volunteer hours that she put forth. What a trailblazer! What a out-of-the-box thinker to be able to do. I was explaining this program to my kids and my wife. It's what an amazing program to go forward with. That when the county does have surplus property and equipment, that we're able to then sell that and use those funds to then support our senior community. It really is a great program, and we have only but Nancy to thank for that. So we're forever grateful. It's my understanding there's going to be something permanent at the Hart House? Yes. Okay, this right here. Great. Thank you. And are we inviting the family up to make some comments? And sure. Yeah, we need some pictures. Come on up.
I'll bring the whole family. It's a quiet night. It is.
You have to join me for the photo.
Just a brief thing about Nancy and her breakdancing.
We'll get a photo with the council, then can we also get the senior commission up as well?
Come on, guys.
Let's have a photo of the family members. Let's bring everybody in.
You have to wait for Grandma.
Thank you. And hopefully you can share a story, somebody?
Melissa's got a few good stories here.
You had the warm up earlier.
I should have kept my mouth shut earlier, that's what I'm thinking.
Grab my paperwork here. Yeah, just tell about the breakdancing. That was so cute.
All right. Okay, so I gave a funny story. They'd asked me for a funny story earlier at the reception. So the only one I could think of, sadly, because now I have to share it again, is when we were younger, my mom, of course, was always dancing. We always danced. It wasn't uncommon for us to be tap dancing through the house, things like that. We did cartwheels, round-offs, running down the hallway and into the family room, things like that. So in the 80s, she decided she needed to learn how to break dance. So I taught her how to moonwalk. I thought, well, okay, let's just do moonwalk. She was successful. And she says, no, I want to learn the spin. I want to be able to spin on my back. So she laid down on the kitchen floor, and my sister, Jennifer, and I had to grab her by her feet and spin her. But because we were not taking it seriously enough, she would just tell us to be quiet and spin me. And so we would have to, and then we'd laugh, and she was like, literally, words she used were, shut up and spin me. So we spun and we spun and we spun. It went on for a couple days, but she was never necessarily, spectacular at breakdancing, but she did know how to moonwalk. So that's the funny story that we shared with them. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah, those of us that knew Nancy through Channel 3, I can't even imagine that, to be honest with you. That's a wonderful story. She was always so serious here over the dais, so that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Senior Commission, for doing this work. And I know when I was your liaison, this was something that was important to you. And I'm glad that we finally got that done, and that plaque is amazing. Great job. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our final presentation of the evening, our update on the status of the Library Meaningful Improvement Project. This is a standing agenda item.
Hello, Mayor Garcia, Mayor Pro Tem Creeves, and our wonderful City Council. I'm Layla Regan, your friendly neighborhood city librarian. The library is officially closed, so thank you to everyone who came on Saturday, October 14th, which was our last day open, to check out items. I know I saw Mayor Pro Tem Creeves there. I appreciate it. I just want to say a very large thank you to everyone who did come by the library in the last 2 weeks that we were open. I have some wonderful statistics to share with you about that. So for our last week that we were open, we had 1,113 visits to the library. That was just between October 9th and October 14th. And then our last day open, we had 1,268 items checked out or renewed. So that was huge. So we were only open for we were only open for 2 weeks in October, and our total checkouts were 7,274 items or renewals. So to put that into perspective, in October 2022, our total for the entire month was 3,847. So I want to say thank you to everyone who is helping us determine our 50% that is going to go to the temporary and our 50% that is going to go into storage. Everything that is currently checked out is obviously going to go to the temporary, so that has helped us with our list. But I also just want to say thank you so much, because it shows that we did a wonderful job on getting the word out. Even while we are closed, we know that people have heard that to not return their items until December, because we're getting very few items in the drop box that we do check periodically. If anyone is trying to call the library, we apologize. We answer if we can, but it is a little bit of chaos in the library right now as we're prepping for our movers. In fact, staff has asked that we push back the move till November 6th, so ideally we were going to move October 30th, but we have pushed it back to November 6th. It shouldn't affect when we open at our temporary location. Staff just wants to make sure that we are dividing the collections appropriately and making sure the items that should be in the temporary are going to the temporary. So we're working very hard to make sure that that is being done. We still plan on opening the temporary in December. We too are not sure the exact date in December that it will open, but we know that it will be December that we will open at our temporary library at 350 West Sierra Madre Boulevard. So we hope to see you all there, and we'll have more news on that. We hope in November to have our final meeting with TSK Architects regarding the design. So that is where they will present the final design and all of the changes that we will see in our wonderful renovation. So hopefully I will get that out to you as soon as I can, as soon as I have any information on when that meeting will be. And that is all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
Could you, I didn't talk about it in my report, but could you give us an update on where the naming rights committee is?
Yes. So we have created a naming rights subcommittee, which is made up of different entities for the library. It includes library staff, some library board of trustees, friends of the library, and the library foundation. So we worked on creating a naming rights policy, which will help us with fundraising, and thankfully our wonderful city attorney is helping us work on our gift agreement for that as well. So we have created a policy yesterday at the Library Board of Trustees. They approved it, so I will be presenting it as a consent item as soon as I get any last needs. I don't think there'll be any more tweaks, but hopefully I'll be presenting it at the next City Council meeting. We hope that this will help with any fundraising efforts as we embark on that, given that the library is now closed and we can focus on fundraising, because again, the wonderful $10,669,210 that we have, $10 million that we have received is really only for the structural, and all of our interior is going to be from our wonderful community. So we do have some great funds already set aside from the Friends of the Library and other trusts, but we are going to embark on a very big fundraising effort with the Friends of the Library and the Library Foundation, and I hope to have more on that at our next City Council meeting.
Thank you. And could you update the public on the electronic resources that are available? I did see a great infographic, I think it was today. There's a list of, looks like 10 things that, that our residents can still kind of check out, I guess, virtually.
Thank you so much for mentioning our electronic resources, Mayor Garcia. I made that. I'm very proud, I'm very proud of it. We upped our electronic resources prior to the closure of the library. So in the last year, we've added Canopy, which is free streaming movies with your library card. And we've added Mango Languages, which is a way for you to take up a new language and keep yourself busy while the library is closed, so you can learn. I believe they have over 70 languages that you can learn. Not fluently, but enough to get you started. And we also have Libby, which is my favorite app that I use constantly. It's free ebooks and audiobooks with your library card. And you can have multiple cards on there. So if you have LA County, if you have Los Angeles Public Library, if you have Pasadena, Monrovia, any other library cards, you can add them all to Libby to create a wider kind of search. And on top of that, we have Press Reader, which is free magazines. And we also have Coursera, which is free courses that you can take. And we have LinkedIn Learning, so it helps with any career moves and skills you're trying to learn. And we have quite a few. So I highly encourage, they're all in our catalog. So if you'd like to log on with your library card to our catalog, and you can check out any of our electronic resources while we're closed. and after, but we just hope you'll be able to still read while we're closed.
Thank you. Any questions for our librarian while she's up here? All right. Thank you for that update.
I'll pass it off to Deputy Director Arnulfo Yanez.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, honorable members of the City Council. Arnulfo Yanez, Deputy Director of Public Works. I'm pleased to report that the project continues from a Public Works engineering phase. As presented during our last council meeting, the city received a design development document. It has been reviewed by staff, including myself and our city administration. And our staff has discussed our findings with TSK Architects. Over the next several days, TSK will be reviewing the returned document with a response to the modifications addressed in our findings. Concurrently, we are working on the building information model, known as BIM in the industry. The BIM will provide the interior design, handrails, checkout counter, ADA walkways, ceiling elevations, etc. Last Friday, we conducted a job walk on site at the location of the library for the site for construction management services, which is for accepting the RFPs that we currently have open. Those RFPs will be due this coming Thursday, the 26th. Honorable Council, this concludes my report. At this time, I will address any questions you may have.
Any questions for our Deputy Director?
Excellent report. Thank
We're
you.
not going to get out of here in an hour, so that was my goal, seeing this agenda. So, yeah, I just want to say, I mentioned, thank you for the update. I did get the preview with the Library Board of Trustees yesterday. And one of the thoughtful questions by one of those trustees was when the DDM comes to the staff, what type of comments were made. And I'm grateful to have our Deputy Director. He stated they were suggesting some kind of bolt, and those bolts aren't the standard and the best bolts. So he recommended, this is one example of what he did. He recommended a certain bolt be used, and that will be like one of the updates in the DDM. The BIM is going to be going, I think they're going to be kind of working in tandem.
Yes, sir.
And we will we'll address those issues too. So our staff is working diligently to make sure that this building is top notch. So thank you for that.
And those boats are Simpson tying boats, sir.
Simpson tying bolts, okay.
Excellent product.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.
Does that meet the naming policy requirements?
Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. We have 5 items on the consent calendar. Madam City Clerk, will you please read the consent calendar by title only?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
4, yes, sorry.
There are 4 items for consideration this evening for the City Council's consideration. I'd like to make an amendment to Resolution 2367. The report that's contained in the agenda packet is correct. The agenda itself has numbers that don't match the report, so I'd like to correct them for the record, if I may. The City Council this evening is being asked to consider Resolution 23-67, approving certain demands. and it is recommended that the City Council approve Resolution 2367. This is for approving payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $825,528.43. Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $9,228.90. And payroll transfer in the amount of $494,754.43. Again, the reports that the City Council received are correct. It's just the agenda that needed to be amended. So the City Council may review this and consider it for approval this evening. Consent item B is AB 1600, the annual compliance report for fiscal year 2022 through 2023. And this report is an informational report intended to, for council to receive and file. No action is required. Consent item C is the cancellation of both the regular city council meetings scheduled for November 28th and December 26th, respectively. And it is recommended that the city council approve the cancellation of both of these council meetings. And lastly, consent item D is the consideration of amendment to the Tesla charging stalls. And it is recommended that the City Council amend and approve the number of charging stalls from the 12 stations to 16 stations, and authorize the city manager to approve any changes to design specifications. Mr. Mayor, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Let's bring it back to the council for questions on the consent calendar. Do we have any questions for item A? Item B? I just have a quick question on this one, and I apologize. I like to sometimes get these questions asked before meetings to make sure that we're prepared. But as far as the AB 1600 compliance report, these funds are the fee schedule funds that we generally receive, and I don't recall seeing this in the previous years I've been on the council. And I just want to see, it's usually, from my understanding, it's for new construction. Are these the homes that are being built up at One Carter? Did we receive funds for that, or is this for other construction throughout the town?
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you for your question. So yes, these are one-time impact fees for new developments, and it has a reserve that we are using, and then new funds that we received during the year. And then this report is an annual report of what we've spent, what we received, and any projects that are approved and carried over.
Thank you. And as far as the inflows, I understand the outflows, but the inflows, we've had new development, or is this if you know? I mean, this might be a question for planning and preservation.
Yes, we have had new receipts coming in. The specific projects, I would defer to Claire.
Well, and let me just.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious. Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Parkhurst.
And I would just be curious if this has anything to do with the meadows or the other projects, and if not, when we might see those. So just to build on your question.
Yes, that was my thinking. That this the reason for my question is was this from? Are we already receiving funds for the approved or the actual built homes up at the One Carter area, Stonegate? Thank you, Senior Planner Lynn. And I know this is kind of planning and finance kind of thrown together, but if you have an answer, that would be great. If you don't, I understand. Like I said, I didn't prompt you for this.
Yeah, good evening. So in the past fiscal year, we actually have two multifamily complex. One is the South Baldwin. It's a 4-unit condominium. And then there's one on West Highland that is a 3-unit condominium. Those were pulled, building permit were issued. And also on top of that, there is One Carter that we have issued 7 building permits in total.
Okay.
The 7-1 Carter is represented in these numbers.
I believe in the 4 of them. The other 3 was issued in the prior year.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
That's very helpful. When we're thinking about the timing of the cash flows and all that, I think it's helpful to understand when these things come in, and obviously helpful for budgeting. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Mayor, if I may take this opportunity to inform the community that Our planning director is retiring, and Claire Lynn has been promoted to planning manager.
I think that deserves a round of applause. Congratulations. That's great news. Thank you for sharing that.
Congratulations.
Okay, any more questions on B? How about C? And I'm sorry, I have to ask. And I wanted to ask this, and I didn't ask it ahead of time. As we're looking at the November 28th meeting, that's after the Thanksgiving holiday, and I want to make sure that as we're thinking about the meeting in December, that's our reorg. I know we're already talking about having 2 agenda items on the reorg. As a council member, I'm willing to be here on the 28th because it's after Thanksgiving, but I understand staff has to prepare for the meeting. So if the reason is that we anticipate staff taking time away from their families, it's a short week, this could be the reason for it. I'm totally on board, but if we have city business to get done and it would lighten the load for our reorg meeting, I'm willing to be here. So just a little, if you can enlighten me a little bit on that.
Mayor, and that's an accurate statement, and if needed, if we need to have a meeting on November 28th, we are prepared to come back. But it is for that reason that staff is going to be, the previous week is going to be away with family, so we'd be having some issues, but if needed, we're prepared to come back and have a meeting.
Okay, if we want to discuss that, we can discuss it after public comment, but thank you for that answer. Thank you. Any questions on item D?
Mr. Mayor?
Please.
Will this change the revenue that the city gets? I think we get a revenue per charging station, is that right? And then, so for question number 1, does it change it? And question number 2, if so, by how much?
So we do get, I think it's $227 per charging station. So the original agreement was for, I think it was like $34,000, and the new agreement will take us to $43,584.
Okay, thank you.
The same rate will apply for the additional charging stations.
Wonderful.
Thank you for that question. Any more questions on item D?
I'll just point out that that's just the rental. That doesn't count for the UUT that will also be generated by.
Yes.
Good point. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, no more questions. Let's bring it to the public for public comment. Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city clerk's office did not receive any emails on the consent calendar. We do, however, have one speaker card from D. Elkhorn.
Mr. Alcorn. I'll just say that. Please, the microphone, please. Thank you. I can hear you, but those at home can't.
It was pretty clear, because I was wondering what the financial impact was of this item for doing the thing with Tesla, but Mr. Parkhurst asked a question about that. I just see what's the effect of having this financially to the city, and that was answered. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment, Mr. Alcorn. Any other speaker cards?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Let's bring it back to the council for discussion and or a motion.
Are you fishing around for a November 28th meeting?
A little bit, but I do want to take staff into consideration for this. Yeah.
I had this conversation in my one-on-one with the city manager, asking the same question, is there a way, do we need to lighten the agenda for the December meeting? And I think currently it's planned, one of the items, timing-wise, almost, can't be moved earlier. It's our what's
water rate?
Yeah, our water rate study, and so there's a certain number of, either happens in December or it happens next year. And then I think there's only one other thing on the agenda. So I personally, given that schedule, was comfortable with this proposal, but just wanted to share that with the broader council.
Thank you for that. I mean, given that, the reorg, I think may be meaningful to you. So if
well, I also feel like the reorg this year, because there's no new council, no council, rotating off, that it's going to be a different, there won't be need for long presentations and the same way as in the past.
And again, I want to honor staff and their time with their families and make sure that they get time off. So thank you for that. Any other discussion around that? Did you have something?
I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
I move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Thank you for the motion and the second. Let's have a vote of the council. All those in favor?
Aye.
Consent carries unanimously. Now, where does that bring us on the agenda?
I wonder.
Wow. To any ideas for future agenda items? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I just had a question. It occurred to me earlier during the one of somebody's, maybe Councilmember Lowe's council report. Do we need to have any milestone check-ins on the other side of the Alverno CUP, the one that we heavily considered? I was just occurring to me that there are certain deadlines for that we probably shouldn't wait until the due date to check in on. So I don't think we need to put it on an agenda, but it'd be good to know kind of what progress is being made to the various milestones that they have under that that proposal that we negotiated into the wee hours.
Does that one start when we approved? Does that 1 year annual meet?
The
Welcome.
master plan for Alverno, the annual date will be May next year.
And we'll be considering progress on the master plan rather than a CUP on that, yeah. It's good, it's good. Okay, so no agenda item for that. That will come to us automatically, is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. Or the planning commission at least, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Thank you for that clarification. Any other ideas for future agenda items? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:42 PM. I think that's a record for me. Thank you, everybody.